Hello, everyone. Hello. This is Lisa Marie Eard with Campus Bound GPS October Tips. And we are on day 26. 26 days. We skipped a couple of tips in the process, but we still have a lot of tips for you to look at. And I see we have some folks looking on. Hello, Monica. How are you? So this is Lisa Marie Aird with Campus Bound GPS October Tips, and I am so excited. But before I start, for those of you who do not know me, I am the collegiate success coach for Campus Bound GPS, where we help students and parents navigate the college application process. And we know the process can be daunting. The process can be overwhelming, but the process is important. And there are so many parts and pieces, and we are here to help you navigate through all of that. So tonight, I am really excited to have a friend of Campus Bound GPS and an awesome young lady who has really worked within the system. And I'll leave it at that. So I'm going to bring in Melina Watson. Hello, Melina. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. So Melina Watson is a college student, and she has, while in college, she has worked in her college admissions office, as well as being an ambassador. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So Melina, if you will introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you've been doing when it surrounds the college application process.
Right. Hi everyone. My name is Melina Watson. I am a senior at Spelman College, originally from South Riding, Virginia, a 2019 graduate of Freedom High School. Like Lisa has said, have sort of an inside perspective. I've been an ambassador at Spelman for all 4 years. And being an ambassador really means that you're a representative of the college. So I do things like give tours weekly, participate in prospective student events. And so thinking about like when your student comes to visit campus for a special day of programming or like admitted students day, I'm there, part of that team. And then I also had the pleasure last year of working in the Office of Admissions as a sort of office assistant. And that gave me a lot of great insight, more than just being an ambassador, about how the Office of Admissions operates and how students can better navigate the admissions process. And so, hopefully, able to share from my experiences today with you all about what it means to sort of demonstrate interest in a college and how that can be beneficial in your application.
Awesome. So that is your tip. Demonstrate interest. So it's very important for students to demonstrate interest. So what are some ways that prospective students can demonstrate interest?
Right. I'll start with something that's like most removed, and then I guess I could work my way into like more direct contact with the school. But first and foremost, like I encourage all students to go to college fairs. There's like large conglomerates where like multiple schools will partner, and an admissions counselor or representative will be there. I know for Spelman is often present at HBCU fairs. And even if it's not a Spelman admissions counselor, it's someone who might be an alum, might be sort of, well, most likely if it's not an admissions counselor, it's an alum, but they'll have connections to the college and insight. And it's just important for students to make connections there because that's their entry point into directly contacting the school that they're interested in. And so it's always good to show face. And when there's like a check in, a QR code, a registration, something, something, everyone's tracking who's coming to say hi to them at a table. So it's really important for students to make sure to get their name, their email, their phone number on those mailing lists, on those text message lists, because that is where a lot of information about other events where you can continue to demonstrate interest in a college will come from. And it's just important because with technology and systems being automated, there's always some sort of tracking going on. So these colleges, at least I know for Spelman, was tracking students who joined the email list, who were receiving these emails prior to their application, prior to potentially enrolling. They can see when you join, if you open emails, when you check emails, all of that stuff. Or at least
Wow.
Spellman can. Yeah, I learned that
That's
working.
amazing.
Yeah,
So, number one, so if a student goes to a college fair, it is very important for them to put their information somewhere, whether it's a list or scan a QR code. It's very important for them to, I like what you said, make contact. So they need to make contact with the university.
yeah, absolutely. And then continuing on with that, making sure that once you get on those emails, at least I know for Spelman, I gained a lot of insight in the Office of Admissions. Every student who has signed up for an email is in our system, and we can see when you signed up for emails, when you started receiving emails. We could see when you receive emails and when you even open them, if you've clicked on certain links. And so students would call and be like, I haven't received X amount of email, let's say about like housing. And I could go in and say, well, no, you received this housing email at 10:45 on this date, and you actually opened it at 11:02. And so like it's something small, but making sure that you follow through with that is really important. And yeah, I would say making contact. The next thing I would say is I encourage like all these students to reach out, whether that be to your admissions counselor, whether that be to the alum you meet. You know, some ambassadors like myself will give out emails at the end of their tour, and so just even like sending an email to them is really helpful. Not necessarily saying that reaching out to a student will have any bearing on your application, because it probably won't. But just to have a connection at the school so you gain greater insight is important. But in terms of like demonstrated interest, definitely reach out to your admissions counselor. At least I know for Spelman, we break it up by state. And so there's an admissions counselor over the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. There's an admissions counselor over the Northeast, the Southeast, Midwest, etc. And so making contact with them, and even if you're asking a simple question, just making sure that you're writing an email to say, hi, I'm interested in X, Y, and Z will really go a long way, in my opinion. And also, although it's a bit old school, calling the Office of Admissions as well. I was a student working in the office. I was picking up the phone, and a good sort of phone conversation might have some bearing, and you would probably likely get some good information out of it. And so making conversation with folks really goes a long way. And so students get to talking about their experiences, like I would sometimes on the phone. So making contact
Oh,
and then
okay. So
following through.
let me ask you, since you answered the phone, what are some questions that you've received while being in the office?
um, you of course get things like scholarships, which are difficult to navigate. And those are a bit more sensitive, so I generally would steer away from calling about that sort of thing. But asking about programs that exist, asking about sort of things that you may have questions in the application process. Those are always good questions to ask. The Office of Admissions deals, at least at Spelman, only deals with admissions. So once you're enrolled, you had the responsibilities you handed over to a different department. So ask questions about the application process. Ask questions about admissions and how they're reviewing applications. Don't ask about timetables. Don't ask about dates, because that could be come across not in the best manner. But asking just sort of about the review process, the college's perspective on applications and admissions, I think could spark a really good conversation.
Thank you for that. It's good insight. Okay, what other contacts or a way to contact and demonstrate interest?
I would say the last and like sort of the most prominent way is through like attending school events for prospective students. So speaking to my personal experience, I toured almost every college that I ultimately applied to. And at least for Spelman, which was my top choice, I attended something as early as my junior year, and then I came back again when I was offered into the honors program. They had an honors program prospective student day, so I went to that as well. And then on top of that, I went to like that time I'd already accepted Spelman and was like set. I made my deposit, but they had their admitted students weekend. But before we even get to there, I think if they have like a juniors only day, or students interested in STEM day, or anything like that, even just like virtual info sessions, because colleges are still doing those, because There, people cannot get to everywhere. And so the virtual ones, making sure you go to those. So just attending those events, whether it be in person or virtual, is like, I think, another great way for demonstrating interest in the college and asking questions while you're at these sessions too.
Wow, you know what? It may seem simple, but it is so imperative and so strong. So I love this tip that you're providing. I think our students and even our parents may not even consider something as simple as picking up the phone and saying, "Hello, admissions counselor. Can you um, can you let me know, about your admissions process or a crucial part of your admissions or something, so that your name is noted and understand that you are tracked." And I think the more, and don't be overly obsessive with it, but at least, um, and who knows, if it's between a toss up between one student and another, who knows, that may make a difference. You never know.
Right. Right. I think admissions counselors generally only review applications for on average like 5 minutes. And so, if they pull up your profile and they see that, you have obviously the test scores, the grades, the extracurriculars, all that. And in addition to that, you've been, receiving emails for 2 years or, 6 months, and you've been engaged in registering for tours and info sessions and virtual things. That's just going to look favorable because it shows the college, the admissions counselor, that if they accept you, you're also more likely to accept them. And so that is something just to think about, as like, you want to show up as the most interested candidate for the college and also be the most interesting candidate, right? But having that demonstrated interest, showing that you're interested, and showing that you like, I keep saying interested. Let me try to find a new word, but having sort of a having sort of a long-standing history of wanting to attend a particular school is something that a school will look at more favorably. I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting us know. So, demonstrated interest. We have, what's the first one? It was going to college
College
fairs,
fairs.
then email or calling the school, and then finally a college visit. So, I hope you guys are listening out there. Thank you, Melina. This was awesome. I appreciate the tip. Students, I hope you appreciate the tips. Parents, I hope you're listening on the side, because you need to encourage your students to do this, because this is a student effort. It's not necessarily a parent effort. It is a student effort because the student has to be the one, right?
Absolutely. It's not the parents. Let me also make that clear. Demonstrated interest must come from the student. I couldn't tell you how many times I've picked up the phone and heard from somebody's mother, father, guardian, what have you. Well, my daughter, XYZ, my son, well, Spelman is all girls school, but I'm going to use the example, but like my child, X, Y, and Z, they need to know this. They want to know that. No, if they want to know, they should be the one emailing and calling, because at that point, it's your application students are reviewing. They're not reviewing your parents' regurgitated information of what you have to offer. I know for myself, like, and the other ones working in the college, it was always something to hear from the student themselves, because that also is a signifier that you have sort of, you've taken the responsibility to take ownership of your college application process. And that's really important. Maturity and responsibility is something that you want to see, an admission counselor wants to see in your application. This isn't your parents' process. They're not admitting your parent. And so demonstrated interest must be from the hands of the student and the mouth of the student, if you will.
I love it. Well, Melina, thank you. Thank you for being our guest. Thank you for being a friend of Campus Bound GPS, because this is not your
Always.
first time. And I pray it will not be your last.
It won't.
I thank you. Okay, so that's a wrap. This is Campus Bound GPS wrapping up day 26. We're coming down to the end of October and we're moving forward full steam. We have another guest tomorrow. I am super excited about this guest tomorrow. So stay tuned. Wow, this is Lisa Marie Aird with Campus Bound GPS October Tips, signing off. Be safe, and I'll see you